In his book, Falling Upward, Father Richard Rohr, a Franciscan friar from Albuquerque, describes a person's life as kind of a container. In the first half of life, we're discovering the shape of that container. We're trying things, testing boundaries, figuring out what we're good at and what lights us up. In that second half of life, we begin filling that container with what truly matters to us. Now, Rohr is primarily talking about spiritual growth in his book, but the idea applies to the rest of our lives as well. We spend our early years experimenting and exploring, and then once we discover the shape of who we are and what makes our hearts tick, we can spend the rest of our lives filling that container with the things we love. Sometimes, though, that process isn't linear. Sometimes we wind up setting something down for years, even decades, before we realize it still belongs in that container. Today's guest knows that experience well. I've known Ashley for more than a dozen years, going back to the early days of digital public relations and digital marketing. She was my boss at an up and coming startup company, trying to bring some calm, some legitimacy to a world that felt an awful lot like the wild, wild west. And while helping to guide our team through some incredibly challenging times, she was also discovering the shape of her own life's container. And now she's filling that bucket with all kinds of incredible things. And you can hear her talk all about it right here on the Matt Dan Toddcast podcast. Coming to you from behind the plastic MDT microphone, it's the Matt Dan Toddcast podcast. I'm your host, Matt, a guy with 3 first names who's just living the dream. Ashley, it is so good to see you again.
You
Thank you
too.
for joining us. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's so good to see your face.
So I know who you are, but I don't know if anyone else listening does. So why don't you take a few moments and tell us about yourself?
Sure, the mystery. My name is Ashley Sherman, or Ashley Halberstad, as Matt always knew me, but I have been married for 13 years, so we can 14, somewhere around there. Yeah, so I consider myself an Indianapolis resident now. I'm actually from Richmond, Indiana originally, but I went to Butler, graduated more years ago than I care to admit to. Relevant to today's conversation, I was a theater major for a whole year. I lasted a whole year as a theater major at Butler. And then I switched to communications. It was journalism with a concentration in public relations when I was in school. They've got better names and curriculum for that now, but had a nice little PR career at a couple agencies, got to meet you along the way. And then I have worked as a communications director for a national sorority ever since. So it's been about 10 and a half years. I'm currently the chief communications officer, but that's more about title structure than it is about my specific skill set. But I love it. It's been a lot of fun continuing to work with, I should say, creative people, but also people who have a creative skill set that I don't have, and learning from them and getting to manage them, and while still getting to do a little bit of my PR stuff, at least professionally. And then personally, I co-own a dance studio with 4 other lovely ladies in Fortville. I don't live anywhere close to Fortville, so that's fun. That's a bit of a commute. We sacrifice for our passions, right? And I recently, about 3 years ago, got back involved with theater after I hadn't done anything since that freshman year at Butler. So We
Wow.
consider ourselves a performer because, it all counts.
Yeah, for sure. Well, welcome back to the arts, to the performing,
Thanks.
to the theater, to the stage. And I should also say you were a rock star when I knew you, and I'm sure you are a rock star now as well. So you majored in theater at Butler. At least you went into Butler
Yeah,
with a
for a
major
whole a whole year.
a whole year.
I knew after the first semester, to be fair, that I wasn't gonna stick it out, but I did last a whole year.
So what got you involved in the arts?
My mom, took dance when she was a kid, and I, got thrown into dance classes, we'll say, when I was about 6. I also got put into bowling at the same time, so I was doing, like, the Saturday bowling league and, like, a weekday, like, evening dance class, and so funny story, I cannot you know how you, like, walk up your approach? My
Mhm.
walk is a chasse, and I cannot separate them because I learned those 2 things at the same time, so I have this cute little hop. I actually find it gives me a lot of power behind my bowling approach, but it is weird. But yeah, actually, a woman my dad was seeing, she had family connections to one of two local dance studios in my hometown growing up. So I got a little bit of the family discount and got thrown into classes, and I loved it immediately. Started that when I was 6, and then when I was 10, there was local auditions for The Wizard of Oz, which it wasn't through like our local civic theater. It wasn't through an existing group. It was some people who I came to find out later had moved into town and just had done theater wherever they were from. I was 10, so I didn't really pay attention to the details. I want to say they're from Missouri. I don't know if that's real. Um, and they were just putting on in this theater, and they had like they used the big civic theater space. So to this day I don't know how that came about. Um, but I tried out and I was cast as Dorothy for my first play.
Cool.
It was interesting because, it started my love of theater, and it also started a huge fear and trauma of mine of singing, because they had us sing the alphabet at auditions, and I did well enough. I think I read the lines well, and I could dance. And I was at one of the very early, rehearsals, and I remember distinctly being with the guy who he was actually the older brother of somebody I knew from school, and he was also the scarecrow and the vocal director, and so he's playing the piano, and I start to sing whatever words are in front of me, and this grown woman with 2 adult daughter not adults, but 2 daughters of her own, said, she can't sing, she can't be taught, just skip it. We'll just not have Dorothy sing."
Oh, no.
To be fair, this is a very weird rendition of The Wizard of Oz. There's Goanthrogs in an office and a lolly pickle sandwich and silver shoes. I mean, I'd say it's more like the book, but it's not even like the book. Like, it was just a weird adaptation. So it worked out fine for the show. I had like a little sing talky thing with the scarecrow, and I had solos in other songs, but I never had like there was no Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right? There's not just like Dorothy sings a song on her own moment. So it was easy to cover up. But I didn't realize until much later in life, that for 30 years, I did not sing intentionally. Like, I did not try to sing in my actual singing voice in public in front of people for 30 years after that.
Wow, that's traumatizing for sure. Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I was offered vocal lessons. Somebody in like the church choir that I grew up in, I babysat her kids. She's like, "I'd give you singing lessons." I was too scared to sing in front of anybody to try to get better at it. But fortunately or unfortunately, my high school drama department at that point in time no longer did musicals. They were supporting the arts at the time. I grew up going to a part of the reason why I wanted to audition for this play when my mom mentioned it to me was because I had watched the high school theater productions. I'd seen them do The Music Man, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." Um, and they didn't do that by the time I got to school. We just strictly had like a drama department. There was no musicals, no frills, no anything. And so I got to be involved in theater in high school. There was a couple of shows in middle school where like everybody's in it. I ended up having lines where most people were ensemble, but like I didn't think anything of it. And then in high school, we did Romeo and Juliet my freshman year.
Wow.
Not Juliet. I was Lady Montague. Had 2 whole lines, but I got to be married to my crush. So that
It
was
was meant to
cool.
be. It was meant to be.
Yeah, for like 5 whole minutes at the beginning. Um, but it was meant to be. It was fate. He and his mullet and I. It was the '90s, it was a weird time. But yeah, so I got to continue to do theater without any of the pressure of singing. I continued to take dance classes, and then when I stopped taking dance classes, I was on the dance team, like our color guard dance team, in high school for a couple years. So I was still performing. I was dancing and I was doing theater, and I had those relationships in that community, and I didn't really think anything of it about not being able to sing or that I might want to for a really long time after that. Yeah. I think my realization, I came to a halt, if you will. I got accepted to Ball State to go to school, and I got accepted to Butler. And I had already had my audition at Butler. And Butler at the time, they do a little bit more of it now, also didn't do musical theater. So I had my audition. I don't remember the two pieces. I want to say one of them was from our town, but I did my monologues and I got accepted to Butler. And I got accepted to Ball State academically and would have had a much better financial deal
Right.
at Ball State had we done that. Choices were made. But I hadn't auditioned yet. And I knew that their program, like I would have to sing and dance and act. It's a musical theater program. You're required to take those things. And I didn't even audition. I just accepted Butler and I didn't even go. I didn't even audition. And again, not even realizing an 18-year-old that that's why. And then I don't know, I got to Butler and the community wasn't doing its thing. Butler was, but it was interesting. I think I had always loved theater for the community aspect of it. Again, at that age, not really realizing that that was why. And I felt very like, we'll be your best friends as long as you don't have any other friends. As long as you only talk to us. My roommate encouraged me to try to be in a sorority, and I was into that, and I was going through recruitment, and I got kind of a lot of hate from some of the theater kids about that. A couple of the other girls were in sororities, but it just wasn't really like my class was like, oh, why are you doing that? You've got us. And then when I did join, I missed everything. Like I missed all of my new member stuff because I was in a show. The show I was in, it was Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is a funny kind of a behind the scenes characters of William Shakespeare. And I was in the ensemble. We were supposed to be like this, I don't even know, like a bard troupe. And so I was supposed to be like a magician. So I'm just like walking around me like, ooh, it was silly. But I missed everything. And I realized I wasn't really building really deep friendships and connections. A lot of my classes were like, I don't know. I felt like I was just, this is an exaggeration, but like I was just kind of sitting in a dark corner in a basement room developing my character for hours. And I was like, is this what I want to do forever? Or do I just want to be famous and kiss hot celebrities in movies? Turns out I just wanted to be the next Kristen Stewart before I knew who Kristen Stewart was. So Twilight was big. Again, that was later. But like, so I mean, it's pretty big and responsible and self-aware of me at 18 to be like, "Well, this is not how I live my life." I honestly, to this day, couldn't tell you why I chose PR. I, I think there might have been some vague, that's what Samantha in Sex in the City did, and she seemed to be happy. I had never seen Sex in the City, so I don't know why I thought that. I saw it later, but like, I don't know. So I ended up in the communications department and it was the best choice and it was the right choice and I'm grateful for it. But again, if I had known that that's what I wanted to do, I probably would have gone to Ball State for their TCOM program. But by then I was in a sorority. I had really good friends. I had really deep personal connections. Like there was no way I was leaving that environment. I loved Butler. I loved my time at Butler. I even loved my time as a theater major. I recognized that wasn't the thing that I wanted to pursue forever, you know?
Yeah.
And so I took a break and the break just didn't end until 2023. So 18 years later, I took an 18-year break.
Well, sometimes we need a little break
Yeah.
or half
Or
our
don't
life.
see, like, where's the opportunity to get back into that
Right.
as an adult? Like that seemed, it wasn't right in front of my face and I wasn't seeking it out. So I just let it go.
Right. And I'm sure I know for me, I was not a theater kid. I was a band geek.
Also played the band.
Heavily
Played the flute in the band.
involved. Played the
Yeah.
flute in the band. Okay. I heavily involved. Knew my time was coming to an end. Still wound up playing a little bit in college, but even then, I knew my last concert was my last concert, and I was not going to pick it up again. And I know that finality can be hard, and so I'm sure that's why some people hold on to theater and don't take a step away, right? And maybe
It's
they
so
should.
interesting though, because like, why is that? There are people,
Right.
and I remember like being involved in theater again now, like we have a pit, we have a live crew at
Yeah.
Footlight. And I'm so grateful that those are volunteers. They put in so much time and effort to be there, and they're still playing their instruments really well
Yeah.
at this level, at this age. And like what is it about the way we as a society just view the arts that you're like, oh, that's a thing I did in school and now I'm
Hmm.
done. Even if you're really
Hmm.
passionate about it, I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, if there had been a reason or a plan, or I don't know, I just feel like adult hobbies in general is just sort of like a frowned upon, like, what do you mean you go play in a band that's not like a band, like a rock band? Like, what do you
Right.
mean you just like go march with people and still
Right.
toss your
Right.
flag or go to dance class or get on like, it's so strange that we just assume that that's the end, and because we all make that assumption, that is the end.
Right. And because like have it so drilled into us that what we are doing has to be, um, quote, productive, or and not
Mm-hmm.
that art isn't productive, right? Not that creativity
Yeah.
isn't productive, but it doesn't generate money
Right.
necessarily. Like like even hosting a podcast that very few people listen to, that you're not going to make any money on. Some people can say, why are you even trying? Why are you
Right.
even doing that? But it's because I get to talk to people like you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's a mindset that is quite prevalent,
Mm-hmm.
and that's unfortunate.
It
Uh,
is. I do feel like, I don't know if it's because social media and like people can see other people doing these things more now or what, but I do feel like, and maybe it's because I'm in it, and so you always recognize it more when you're in that space yourself. But um, I do feel like I know more and more people who are taking some sort of a dance class or auditioning to be in shows, or picking up their instrument again. I think it is probably a little bit like when you see one blue car, all you see are blue cars. But um I do feel like there is a at least a contingency of those of us that we hit a certain age and we're like, it's time for me to do something that I enjoy. Darn it, taking back my
yes,
free time.
yes. I think that's part of it. I think it's a lot of it, and I also wonder if maybe uh, lingering effects from the shutdown, like people just kind of
Yeah,
reevaluated what they value.
absolutely. I can see
And
that.
that's all great. I think that's all great.
Yeah,
So if you are listening and are on the fence about getting involved in something, just do it. Right?
just do it.
So you took an 18-year break. What got you back in?
Yeah, jealousy, I think. I tangent side on the side. I did start dancing again right after college. I did 1 year on the Butler dance team. They are very good now. I want to be very clear that that is not the team that I was on. Was not the 19 no wait the 2002 Butler University dance team was not going to like UDA and placing third in the jazz finals. That was
Mm,
not that was not where we were at. But it was fun. And so then a couple years later, I've graduated, and I wanted a hobby, I wanted to do something, and I found a dance studio on the east side that had adult classes. I think the way I phrased my email to this woman, who ended up becoming a very dear friend of mine, was like, I have dance experience. I want to get back into it. I don't mind the age range. I don't want to dance with people who are just having a midlife crisis and don't have any idea what they're doing. Like, I'm beyond that level. Not that that's not okay. And we currently welcome many people who are just like, I'm 60. Let me tap. Like, okay, show up. It's great. But at me at 22, I was like, I can dance. I don't need like a creative movement level class. I want to just jump in with people who have also had some experience. So I found a wonderful place and ended up taking one class for 2 or 3 years, added a second class, then a third. Then the studio changed ownership, kept going. By then we'd built this huge community. We call ourselves the Dance Babes still. We have a Facebook Messenger group where we like send videos of class and whatever. And then that studio ended up closing down pretty suddenly. And four other women were like, they all had kids that were also in there. They danced as adults and they had younger students. They're like, let's just like, could we figure out how to
mhm.
put a recital on? Because the kids were looking forward to it. And so were we. And we're like, yeah, let's figure it out. So we threw some stuff together and it worked out pretty well. And we had a lot of parents that were like, you're going to keep going, right? And we're like, I
Keep
mean,
doing it. Yeah.
sure. So we leased a space, and this June will be our 10th recital. So our ninth year in operation and our 10th recital as AMP Dance
That's
Family.
amazing.
Yeah, so it's fun. Again, it sort of accidentally ended up being really far away from my home because we were like, where can we lease a space? So now we just moved. We're actually right on Main Street, Fortville now, which is a cute little town. And it's recreational. We're not doing competitions for trophies or anything. It's all ages. We sort classes by age, by class, like first through third grade, fourth through fifth, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then adults. And adults is like we have students who just graduated from high school and women in their 70s, and we are all in class together. Some have danced their whole lives, some are just learning to dance for the first time. Our teachers are really skilled at like helping everybody feel included. So I've had that experience. I've had that as a constant. I love the arts, I love theater, I love going to see things, and through my connections through dance, I started going to more community theater stuff. And I remember just sitting there and watching it and being like, that's amazing that they're doing that. Also, I could freaking do that. Like, I was a little bit like, why do they get to do it? Why do they get to do it? I don't get to do it. And then I was like, oh, because I can't sing. That's right. That's why. There it is.
That trauma again. Yep.
There it is. And that's when I started to notice it. I was like, ooh, I'm not going to audition that for that though. Like it'd be so fun to be in this ensemble and dance around and whatever. And because of who I knew them through dance. So they were in musicals. I wasn't
Mhm.
going to see like straight plays. I wasn't seeing
Mhm.
just plays. I randomly, through a work connection, a former intern of mine happened to be involved at Footlight, and they posted on their Facebook page that they were looking to put together, well, they weren't, but that they knew the directors putting together a holiday show and that they were looking for, quote, Rockette style dancers. So I messaged them and I said, are you serious about needing dancers? Do the dancers also need to sing? Because I'm not comfortable singing, but I would absolutely love to dance in this type of a show. And she said, let me contact the directors. She got right back to me. And she said, yeah. Said, if you're willing to dance and you could do that, like come to this audition. So I go to the audition. I don't do the singing portion of the audition. It just so happened that this show is called a Footlight Family Holiday. It was put together. It was like created by these two men in town that do a lot. They actually do a lot with Mount Vernon High School as well. They have the teen show for Footlight coming up as well, Rick and Chris Barber. It was very cool. It was kind of a holiday variety show. So they put it together. They had all these songs that they didn't have to pay for the rights for, so that Footlight, being a nonprofit, they could profit more and not have to pay for the rights out of pocket to then try to earn a profit. Everything was kind of a profit, and they were very welcoming. It was like, if you've got a special skill. One gal was on stilts for a hot second on stage. They're like, basically anybody who said yes, I'd love to participate in this, got to participate in this, which was really special. And a lot of people were people who had been there, had done Footlight before. I think I was one of the only, me and another friend, I think there's like two, maybe three of us that like were brand new to this. And so I got to have that again. I got to learn the choreography and meet all of these women of varying ages and sit in the dressing room and have our private jokes and like take our silly pictures and be really proud of this thing that we got to build. And being part of the process of creating it too was so special. I've realized now every show is very special, but being a part, like that show was really, really special. And it came right at a time that I needed it to, where I might not have continued to pursue things, but it was exactly what I needed. I made a ton of friends, built a ton of relationships, and was like, well, I can't not continue to do this thing with
Right.
these people.
Right.
And what's so sad every time, if anybody listening has ever been in a show, like when it ends, it crushes you a little bit,
Mhm.
because you will have these relationships, you will have these memories, but you will never do this exact thing with these exact people in this place ever again. It
Yeah.
is very finite and it is hard. There are a lot of tears. And so I was like, well, any little piece of that, any piece, if I can be in a show with this person, if I can feel like this on stage again, if I can work with these directors, like any little piece of that, you want to keep doing it so that you can just like keep building up, scrolling away
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
moments and those memories. And so I got bit again, I guess. I don't know what it was that made me like, now's the time. I think somehow I knew that that was the opportunity that would allow me to do it and not have to like step too far out of my comfort zone, which was great. It was exactly what I needed.
That's great. How many of the holiday shows have you done?
So just the one. And
Just
what's
the one.
interesting about
Okay.
that particular show is they haven't done it like that again since then.
Okay.
Which is hard. You just have to have people who are willing to like put it together and pitch it
Yeah.
and do a whole thing. And maybe someday, I don't know. There's something in the back of my head that's like, maybe in a couple years I'll pitch that show and try to help put it together. But I'm not quite ready to put my director's hat on yet. It's hard. It's a hard job.
Okay. So I just realized that that's the one I didn't realize that's that was your return. I saw you on that in that.
Oh,
My
yes, that's
family
right.
came
Yeah.
to that. I didn't realize that was
Mhm.
your return to the stage. So,
That was my first
I
time.
witnessed
Yeah.
history, right? So
Sure
pretty
did.
cool.
And
Pretty cool.
I would just like to brag that we coined ourselves the Sockettes
The
because, like
sockets.
Rockettes, but foot light. So foot
Uh-huh.
sockets,
Perfect.
and also like foot light socket, socket. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
that's
So the footlight Sockettes, one performance, and that was it. But
like I said, I witnessed history, so that's pretty great.
yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like almost like what the story, the stone soup, where the community comes together and brings what they have, and then all of a sudden you have this
Mhm.
amazing thing that
Yeah.
is just built based on what everyone's talents are. Yeah,
And even shows that aren't built from scratch, like just
right,
shows that have a script and they have a book and you have to follow them to the letter because of rights, are very much still like that.
right.
Everybody is bringing their unique interpretation and their skill and their, whether that's singing or dancing or acting or just being a positive energy backstage, whether that's helping build and or move set pieces. Like, it is really a group effort to bring any show together, and there's just something so special about that. There's,
Yeah,
can't recreate that.
I've been thinking a lot about theater and quote theater kids and the stereotype behind that, um, because our daughter just did her first high school play and had the
Amazing.
whole taste of theater lifestyle and being part of the theater family. And uh, I certainly hear what you're saying about the finiteness of it,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Is she in her post-play depression? That's real.
uh,
That's
she has, I think she has moved out of it because
yeah.
prom is just around the corner.
Okay, so
But
she's got yes.
we've moved on. But oh goodness,
Yeah, and
uh,
I think it's
yeah,
hard when it's your first one too, you don't really know, or somebody it's one of those
no,
things that until you experience it, people can tell you and they can warn you, but until you are in it,
hmm
you don't understand. You are
no,
really mourning the loss of something, of this special place in time, and that's hard.
yeah, yeah. And especially if you're not expecting it, right? Like
Yeah.
if you don't
Mhm.
have the uh the history
Yeah.
to be
You can
prepared for
and
something
you
like
can
that.
brace yourself for it even now though, but
Yeah,
it still hits
still
me.
rough.
It's still
Mm.
rough.
But it's
I
worth
think
it though, right?
I think because, you had told me that and that she had kind of found this sense of community, which I think is so amazing. And I've been thinking about like why is that? Like what is it? And I think this also ties into why there is sort of that stereotype of theater kid. It's because it is kind of one of the only places, and maybe other arts things in general, but it can be competitive, don't get me wrong, it can be, but there is a necessary vulnerability that comes with putting yourself on stage in any capacity. Everybody there is doing that. Everybody there, to varying degrees, is making themselves vulnerable and putting themselves out there and trying something scary. And hopefully, and mostly, usually, nobody's being made fun of for that. They're not
hmm
being torn down. They're not being broken down. They are being supported and loved and cheered on for doing this thing that is scary. Um, and so you just inherently bond with people who are your cheerleaders like that and that you are cheering for in that way, even without so much of it is passive. You're not realizing that that's what's going on, but you really have built without even realizing it, this huge support network, that like this net that's going to catch you if you fall,
hmm
or not even let you fall, because everybody's trying to like make the show the best that it can be. But then later, you go to audition and you don't get a part. You've got people in your corner being like, "That's okay. You were great. You'll get this next time." It's I think it's the vulnerability of it all to put your there's a reason why not everybody performs, right? Like, not everybody's
Right.
out on stage to sing or to dance or to act for reasons, because it is terrifying. And it's more terrifying for some than others. I would say it's terrifying for everybody, even if you enjoy it. One of those masochists that just enjoys the fear of it.
A
Um,
glutton. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just a glutton for that. But like, it's scary no matter what. And so when you find a group of people who love it in the same way that you love it and are scared in the same way that you're scared and are there to be kind and supportive and while you're being brave, that can't be beat. That's just such an incredible feeling.
And then again, when the community comes together and puts together something amazing,
Yeah.
I don't know that from the theater perspective, but I do know that from the band
Absolutely.
perspective, that you
Absolutely.
know when you are clicking and you walk off the
And
stage
you
with
think,
that
nailed
high
it.
that
And it's that shared high. Everybody there knows that you guys
exactly.
just freaking killed it. And to celebrate that and to know that you look around the room and all of those people feel that exact way that you feel,
Hmm.
how can you not just be bonded with that person or those people in some way, even just that one
Right.
small way
Right.
forever? Yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
it's a dopamine hit that you kind of want to pursue again,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's
Well,
certainly
and
worth it.
it's also just individually too, like you busted your butt. Like you spent weeks,
Exactly.
months working on this, whatever that is,
Hmm.
whether that's your marching band routine. We always competed at State Fair band day,
Hmm.
whether it's
Hmm.
your dance that you've been at class every week, if it's this show that you put together in 6 weeks, you worked really hard. You had late nights and early mornings and memorizing your lines and memorizing your choreography and practicing this music. And to know that all of your hard work paid off, that practice did make perfect and that you got there. I mean, that's what your parents are teaching, right? Like practice makes perfect and you can do it if you put your mind to it.
Right.
And then to have that actually happen in real life, you're like, I'll be. It really does work that way. Huh. What are the odds?
Amazing. Amazing how
Amazing.
my teachers and my parents knew what they were talking about. Who would have thought?
Those darn adults. I would say too, that support group, I mean, honestly, it kind of is like therapy. But my Sockettes, for example, the woman who stood next to me because we were the similar height, she pulled me aside once and said, I know you shared that about like not singing. I think they asked, they're like, hey, why aren't you mic'd? Are you not singing in the show? And I was like, oh no, told them the story. And so she pulled me aside and said, like, I can hear you. Cause I did sing. I didn't sing out and I wasn't mic'd and I didn't bother to memorize all the words, but I sang occasionally so that I had to at least mouth the words. If I'm going to mouth the words, it might as well be making sound. I knew I wasn't like loud enough that I could deter, I wasn't standing out or anything. But I can hear you singing and you're really not as bad as I think you think that you are. Like you're fine. Like you're a fine singer. Like you could use some practice and some lessons. And I know you're not really trying, but like you're a good singer. It's really fine. And another woman, I was just kind of like humming a song, like kind of singing it to my head as I was putting my costumes away one night. And another woman who was one of the featured singers said the same thing. She pulled me aside. She's like, I just heard you sing. Like what are you talking about? I think people are really quick to say negative and gossipy things behind people's back, but we are not quick as humans to be uncomfortable in telling somebody good things about themselves, except in the theater. I mean, again, there is competitive, there is God. Like, don't get me wrong, we're all still people and that happens. But like more so in the last 3 years than ever in my entire life, have people gone out of their way to pay me a compliment. And I know that it's sincere. Like
Oh, wow.
there's 50 people in this show and they might compliment every single one of them, but they'll might pull me aside and be like, that scene was so hilarious. You did such a great job. They didn't have to do that. I would have gone home and been perfectly happy with my performance. Nobody had to gas me up. Right. But we are really, I think because we know what it's like to not get that and how special it feels when we do get that, we are all very quick to be like, don't be hard on yourself. This was great. And so after that encouragement and a little bit more convincing, I started taking vocal lessons and I've been taking vocal lessons for 2 years as an adult,
Good for you.
and it's been fun. And honestly, the biggest part of it is just working with this woman to be confident enough to audition. So I've auditioned several times. I've only been cast. Okay. I've been in 2 musicals since then, to clarify. One of them, I didn't sing at the audition because I'd lost my voice. I mean, I tried to, but like nothing came out. So I was cast with a small part because they needed more people
Hmm.
to be in this show. It was a small theater, and they needed some people to do some lines and things. So I was cast with like 6 or 7 lines, and then in the ensemble, I could dance, I could act. The singing will come, or it
Right.
won't. But the process of being in a musical, a booked musical that actually has like a vocal book and a vocal director and that we're going through and things, and that I'm part of that, was really special, was really interesting. It was really scary. I'm not gonna lie. I left vocal rehearsals crying several times. I was like, I just can't do this.
Wow.
I could do it. I did do it. It was fine. And then I just finished Funny Girl at Footlight, it had been a goal of mine to be cast in another musical at Footlight where I did have to sing in the audition and still be cast. And so I do know it's knowing myself and being self-aware because I could dance and do some things. And and some of the other reasons I don't think I would like, oh, her voice is astounding and here she is. But they gave me a chance and
Yeah.
I sure didn't make it worse. So that's good. But again, I got to learn from people who are incredible singers, that that's their main skill is the singing. And I got to learn from multiple vocal directors. We had a bit of a snafu with somebody having to leave because they got a paid job.
Oh,
So we had multiple
okay.
vocal directors come in and help us, which was great because I got to learn from a
More
bunch of different
perspective.
people
Yeah.
and things. And yeah, and it was honestly, it was just so great. Such a great show. So fun to be involved in that process again. And so now I'm like, okay, done two musicals, like real life musicals with like scores and like singing. Like obviously it's a thing I can do. I think, sometimes the circumstances matter. I'm not going to get cast in everything all the time. I don't even want a part where I have to sing a solo.
Right.
I want to be in the ensemble where I'm blending in with everybody. But, it's a thing that can be done and I'm really proud of myself that I was like, okay, I will put myself out there. I will go take these lessons that I denied myself 30 years ago and we'll see what we can do. And then again, surprise, the hard work paid off. Who
Yeah.
would have thought?
Ashley, you are growing up. I'm proud of you.
I know.
I'm so proud of you. Um,
Adulting,
I know.
maturity.
Sometimes it is what it cracked up to be. I mean, sometimes it's a great thing because
Yeah.
you're becoming a more well-rounded person and taking on musicals. And man, good for you.
After like, I don't know, like the fourth musical I had auditioned for and had to get cast in, I had a little bit of a revenge moment. Not at anybody, not at the directors or anything like that. But I was like, I needed to prove to myself. I was like, I know I can do this. So I auditioned for just a straight play. I was like, I'm just gonna audition for a play. There's a play coming up that I really like. I liked the book. I'm gonna audition for this. And I got one of the leads, the lead. I don't know how you would say it, supporting lead. I don't know. I got to play Jean Louise Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, which the state adaptation. She's the narrator, so I'm not Scout. I'm not a 10-year-old child, but I was her older self and got to narrate the entire thing, which I didn't even know was my dream role until I was in it, and it was so incredible. So I was like, so even sometimes being a little immature, being like, darn it, I know I can do this. I'm going to prove it. And just showing up, doing it. Sometimes that's the gusto you need, right? Sometimes I've got to prove this to myself. I know I can do things. It may not be that thing that I just tried for, but I can do a thing. I'm going to show you. And I showed myself is what ended up happening.
Well, good for you. So that was the dream role you didn't know that you wanted, right? So what would be?
I don't know. I was thinking about this. I think it'll probably, when it comes to like a dramatic or straight play, I'd really like to do more comedy. I had done a little bit in high school, but it's been a long time since I've done a comedic show. But I don't know what that is. I think it's gonna find me. I don't know. I kind of like To Kill a Mockingbird. It's like, oh, I like the book. Meh. There's this role
Yeah,
that my
yeah.
age range fits in. Let's try. Um,
Let's try it.
Musical wise, I love Hairspray. I just think it is so fun. It's got a wonderful message, of course, obviously, but like the
Mhm.
dancing and the music, it's so fun and high energy. And I obviously cannot be one of the nicest kids in town because unless we do it all, like, can we do a 30 and up Hairspray? And then maybe. But I think I'm probably looking more like Penny's mom is probably where I would land, especially because she doesn't sing that
Yeah.
much, and when she does, she's got kind of a intentionally nasally annoying voice. I'm like, I could nail that.
Well, you could do
I
that.
could do
Okay.
annoying.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I would love to be just in the big Hairspray. Like if we could turn back time and do anything, I would be Tracy Turnblad. But
Mhm.
that's not my current reality, and that's okay. I also just saw Clue was traveling through Broadway across America. We go to all of those shows, and it is such a fun show too. It's also really high energy. It's a play. There is a musical version that I've never seen, but the butler at one point, just like in the movie, like Tim Curry, he basically just like recaps everything that's happened last
Mhm.
hour in like one breath. It seems like it's very Mr. Bean or Jim Carrey, who are actors that I love. I just like I can
Yeah.
watch The Mask or Ace Ventura anytime. Like love it.
All day.
That
Yep.
physical comedy. So I'm like, it would be fun to be able to do a show like that where it's just such a farce, such a like physical farce. I think would be really fun to do something like Clue or The Play That Goes Wrong or something like that. I think would be really fun. So I'll keep my eye out. But
Yeah. All right.
for now, I just want to be silly on my own time.
Well, okay. If you have to. So what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Yeah, I am trying, my worlds are combining a little bit. I from my director that I got to work with in To Kill a Mockingbird is doing a musical in Westfield. They're putting on The Secret Garden. I was not a Secret Garden kid. I feel like
Hmm.
so many kids were, I'm realizing, like, oh
Hmm.
my God, that was my favorite book or my favorite movie or whatever growing up. I knew of the story, but I don't remember having to read it in school. Didn't see the movie as a kid. I think
Yeah,
I
me
just
neither.
missed it age wise.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful stage production. The music in this show is like haunting. It's
Hmm.
gorgeous. And so my friend Linda and I were working on our like choreographer name. We're rolling with Tom and Sherm, like Cost and Mayer, who are a popular choreography duo online
Uh-huh.
now. We're Tom and Sherm. That's what we're trying to do. Um, but she is a teacher at Amp Dance Family at the studio. So I've been dancing with and learning from her for years and years now. And she also does musicals. We've not did any one together. She was in Newsies and I did Crew. But I was moving the news cart while she's out there doing her jumps and things. So we are choreographing the Secret Garden together at Westfield. So we've taught all of the choreography. We've got 2 days next week to like clean it up, teach some people who had some outages and things, and then let them just take it. And then I get to just go see the show, which is so weird. I usually either um, but in the show, I've done crew twice, which has been really, really fun. But then you're there through the whole run and the tech week leading up to it because you've got to move the set pieces and know where to be and things. I love that aspect of being in a show as well, but it's weird to like be so involved at the beginning and then when it gets to the end, when the circumstances get, when it gets high stakes, um, to not be there then is and just show up and see the actual show and its final form is going to be really wild. But it's been really, really fun to just be a part of that in any small way. And I'm really excited to see how what the final product looks like. Be cool.
So that's at the end of May. Is that right?
Yes, it's the last weekend of May and the first weekend of June.
Okay.
Yeah, at the Basil Westfield Playhouse, I believe is what they call it. Westfield. It's a really nice little theater too.
Cool. I'll make sure to link to that
Oh, that'd be
in the
great.
show notes. So that'll be
We've
fun.
got some powerhouse voices in that show. It is they blow the roof off that place. Tell you
Cool.
what. And that's been cool too. Just I mean, it's becoming a very time intensive and expensive hobby because now I've built all of these wonderful friendships and I'm like, oh, I've got to go see this person and this person. And the shows are always the same time. I'll have 2 months where I don't see anything. And then there'll be 3 weekends where like 8 people are all in different shows on the exact same days and times. I'm like, what? How do
Why
I
couldn't
get
they plan that better? Plan around your
how,
schedule here.
right? I went to see Pippin at Lawrence Central today because I'd never seen Pippin and I wanted to know what Pippin was about. But a very good friend of mine's daughter was in it. And I was like, I will go support your daughter and see Pippin. So like, it's not even the people that I know. I'm like, oh, I'll go see your love. And I love it. Like I love being able to support them and cheer them on. And I know that
Hmm.
they do the same for me. There's just so many and
Yeah,
it's
there
cool.
are.
Indianapolis and the surrounding areas actually, I had no idea, like has such a robust theater scene. There are, I mean, Footlight does all musicals. Carmel Community Players does one musical a season. I think it has some really great straight plays. Civic obviously is mostly, I don't know, I feel like they're community theater plus. They've got incredible shows. Epilogue attached to in the same building as Footlight Musicals, the Headback Theater. There's another theater off to the side called Epilogue that I'm probably going to phrase this incorrectly, and I feel bad from a PR standpoint for that. But they have shows, they have cast of all ages, but they specialize in shows for seniors. For the epilogue, that final, not final chapter, that sounds so morbid, but like, that's not to say they don't have shows that have younger parts and things, because they absolutely do. But they put on some really cool shows that like I've never heard of, which has been really fun. Like I'm getting to see theater and shows that I never would have encountered if I didn't know somebody who was in the show. So I'm going to go see this show because my buddy's in it, but I also get to experience this really cool story that I never would have gotten to do that if I hadn't have known this person and gone to support them. So it's been really special to just see all these different theaters, the Belfry. I mean, there's so many. There's so many. Buck Creek, Mud Creek, Belfry. Like there's there's a theater doing something every weekend, honestly, all the time.
Very cool.
But it can also
Very
be
cool.
overwhelming too when they all have
It
auditions at the
can
same
be.
time. You're like, what do
Yeah.
I do? What do I?
Looking back, what advice would you give teenager Ashley
Ooh,
about theater, about acting in theater?
that's rough. First of all, teenage Ashley was not hearing anything about from anybody, but
Right. Right. That's the thing.
I
First of all, listen to me,
let's
right?
pretend
Listen to
teenage
me.
Ashley was going to listen to me. I think I think I threw the baby out with the bathwater a little bit. Like I
Hmm.
took that break from theater, and I had a great time in college. I explored my other hobbies and activities. I got back into dance, but I didn't explore theater in the same way. And I wish teenage Ashley had at least kept up with it, at least continued to see plays, had sought out community theater, even just as a patron at first, because then I think I probably would have gotten involved in it sooner. Going back even further, I wish 12-year-old Ashley would have accepted vocal lessons and
Yeah.
had not let somebody's comments affect her to that degree. And, you know, gosh, I could be Barbara Streisand right now. Who knows? No. But I think I
But I
would have
think
had.
Ashley's pretty amazing. So,
Thank you. I've paid
yeah,
him to
we
say
don't
that,
need
but
another
I
Babs.
think I would have at least had the confidence to try. I had the confidence to try to do other things on stage. I still danced. I did straight plays. I don't know why that never clicked. And I wish that I had just given myself more of a chance. But I really wish that I hadn't departed theater so abruptly, both as a patron and as a participant. When I stopped being that theater major, I felt like I felt like I didn't deserve it. Like, oh, I gave up on
Mm,
this, therefore I don't deserve to still be around it and involved in it. And that's silly. Plus, it's
yeah,
the arts.
I
Everybody should support the arts. Like the arts
exactly
aren't
support
mad
the
that
arts.
that you didn't pursue being in it, but they still want you to support it. Like I don't, but life gets in the way. I was doing a lot of figuring out who I
Hmm.
was, and I think I just had to set that down for a long time before coming back to it. But I wish it hadn't taken so long.
Well, I'm glad that you're back into it for sure. You've kind of you've set this frame for who you are, and now you're filling it up with all kinds of
Hmm.
really cool things and
Yeah,
growing in that.
I think I'm a much nicer person when I'm able to spend time doing things that I love. I think anybody would be. My husband is very kind and supportive. I already spent time away from the house doing dance and whatnot. But now, like if I'm in a show, there are weeks where he's having to make dinners for two and put mine away right away. And I eat it at my office before I get to the theater or, eating on the fly. And he's having to do all the dishes and everything. So I really appreciate him being able to do that. But he's got his hobbies and his things too. So when he needs to go do that, I'm there for him, and he does that for me. And I think um, if either one of us was the kind of person that felt like we couldn't make space for the other person to do that and pursue that thing that they love, we wouldn't be together. We wouldn't be the people that we are. So it's been really important for us too.
Well, go team, and that's good that you're supporting each other for sure.
Go team Sherman.
So your dance studio, where can we find that online if anyone's interested?
I would love that. It's AMP Dance Family. So amp, like amp it up.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Like a speaker amp. So amp Dance Family. So named because we really are a family. We really are. We consider ourselves to be a community. The reason why we kept the studio going was because when it, had the previous version faltered a little bit, was because we had built that community in that space and we didn't want to lose it. So we don't pay ourselves. We're a collective of 5 directors. All the money that like the studio profits goes back into the space and paying the teachers and making sure we can put on a recital. So that's coming up June 6th. But I would say like August through December. The fall semester is very like come try out a class. Right now we have registration open for summer. There's week dance camps, which are a good time to go and try something out new. And then in August it starts our actual semester. And then in the spring semester that starts in January, we start recital prep. So anybody that's joining in the spring semester is like, okay, I'm gonna get to wear a costume. I'm gonna dance to this song. We're gonna learn that choreography this whole semester, and then we're gonna perform it for our loved ones in June, which is really fun. And the adults too.
Cool.
Actually, our adults are probably more involved. I mean, our adult classes are always almost full. We have a lot of people who like, I saw you guys up there when I was here to see my daughter, and like I thought I want to do that, and then they do, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for them. Good for them. That's awesome. Um, anywhere else on social that you want to share?
On social media, we're at Amp Dance Fam, mostly Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, behind the scenes stuff and things. But we'll post all of our links to registration and stuff there if anybody needs more information. But yeah, not to be confused with Dance Fam, which is an adult studio in Carmel. We are
Okay.
Amp Dance Fam.
Amp Dance
That's a
Fam.
weird coincidence.
I'm sure.
I think we were
Yeah.
there first, but I'm just happy people are dancing. I'm not mad about it at all. We actually have a teacher at our studio that also teaches there too. So just to make it even more confusing, I'm just happy people are dancing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Ashley, this was really fun to hear, really fun to listen to, and you're just a great person to talk to.
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh.
really excited for you and getting back into theater. Congratulations on the Secret Garden that's coming up, and
I'm so excited.
yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah, just thanks so much for spending some
Thank
time
you
with
for
us
letting me
today.
rattle on about stuff I like.
Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform, and go ahead and give this podcast a like too. I hear that does some good. You can find out more information and all the show notes for this and all my episodes at mattdantodd.com.